Hello everybody, Reddit Twilight Struggle League 2028 against the organiser, Shaq, who has done me over before. Yes, last time I was in the top league. So he's USSR, I'm USA. Marshall Plan opening not without its big risks against an exceptionally good player, of course. But it does at least trigger NATO, and I've got a special relationship, so I feel like Marshall Plan is the go-to. I want to try and hold decol. If I get purged, I hold US Japan for blockade. So we're going to open with it, even though it tips our hand. Let's just get the rest of my hand in. Badoob-doob-doo. Korean War, Suez, Fidel. So we want to try and trigger Fidel as soon as possible. Yes, Shaq's on the on Central Time. Alright, so we're going to open... No, we're going to open 3, 2, 3. To go 4-4-2. With domination, even though it's achingly transparent what we're doing. We won't worry about timing tells, let's just get it up. Well, I get the purge. It was invited, so let's hold on to US Japan, but at least we can get a head start on Europe. And if he does pop one off on NATO, it's just occurred to me, if I do get blockaded, I'm going to want to bail on it because I don't want to give up decol. So actually what I need to do is hold 5-year plan. Because obviously I'd be passing blockade to hold decol. Oh, he's too good. So now begins the Ops War in West Germany. Which he's bound to win. Okay, I'm fairly content with how that went. Purge blockade was fairly likely. Things are what they are. If he has to use the China card as well. Yeah. Well, we'll keep ticking up. If he does use NATO, we will use special relationship AR6. So Space Suez, Event and Prey Korean War. That's all come up roses for him. No, let's event it first. Oh boy, it's all going on. Okay, he can have Korea. And we'll put another one in West Germany. Formosa's in play, got to remember that. So Space Suez and get a coup off to drop DEFCON. And get some mil-ops on the board. Youch! Painful turn 1. Could have been worse though. Shaq's a great player. He's no idiot. And I left myself exposed. Just have to hope he doesn't headline Arab-Israeli war and clear me out entirely. We'll see what he's thinking about here. Oh, well, that's not bad for him. He's got D-style as well. Oh boy. So let's keep DEFCON up for a while. So, Space Suez, finish off Europe. Give up 2 VP for Milops if he doesn't drop DEFCON. He'll be interested in dropping DEFCON twice to get the most out of D-style, obviously. Well, the turn could have been completely different if I had an open Marshall Plan. If I'd opened 4-4-2, I suspect we would have had a purge coup on Italy or Iran, race down DEFCON to get D-style on the board, and instead we've got a situation where I barely hold Europe, I'm nearly out of the Middle East, and I've already lost the Korean War. So, well, weather the storm, the classic American way. Right, we're going to space Suez, which whiffs, as if things couldn't get even better for me. An AR6, I expect we'll see him do something with defectors. Right, we'll get a coup off, because we want to get Milops down. Although, what am I going to give up? 2 Milops if I do that. DEFCON drops to 3 and I get 1. That's probably a reasonable swing, given the circumstances. And I got a good result. Well, I got Europe scoring, so I can do something about that. Fortunately, I got Arab-Israeli. Otherwise, things could be way worse. Right, so containment won't net me 5 ops, because I'm not using decolt. It'll only net me 4. So captured Nazi is probably more attractive here. So that's what we're going to go with. What I don't want to see is socialist governments, I guess, because then he can flip France with a 4-op, of which there remain 2 in the deck. Well, he's got the China card as well. So socialist governments is just about the worst headline here. NASA's not great, obviously, but tolerable. And at DEFCON at 4, I can counter coup. So hold decall, space Arab-Israeli, play the rest. No coup for me. Big coup. So we will go presence, domination, push to Thailand for him to use D-style. So the upshot of that is that he now has to use 2 ops in Thailand. Which means he's got less freedom elsewhere. So with South America, he can either take East and West and give up on Africa. On the other hand, I suppose he might assert he can afford to give me Thailand, because I have no access to Pakistan and I've lost South Korea. So it'll be interesting to see if he expands into the mid-war regions. So we will see what he does. He's got the influence to spare, 2 out of Panama, Austria, Finland, so it's just a case of where he puts them. Even 1 in Thailand isn't the worst, because then he can use the China card to flip it, and Formosa Resolution's in play. So 1 would do. Less attractive, less useful, but still fine. And he's a better player than me, so we'll trust his judgment. Okay, well that's interesting. So we will respond by popping 3 in, and saying if you want to do it, you've got to pay. I don't mind him paying. So he has to use a 4-op card to bring it to 3-4, right? Yeah, or the China card. So we'll start racing country count if Asia domination kicks in. And we do want to keep an eye on Europe because we want to drop the scoring card for domination. We need the points at this point. Point to point. I still think Arab-Israeli war is largely unplayable. And obviously we have to drop the scoring card before using Cambridge 5. So if he de-styles, we'll drop Europe's scoring to be on the safe side before trying to race country count in Asia. And as long as we have presence in the Middle East and he does not have control, we will accept whatever else goes our way in the Middle East. So hopefully, well, I say hopefully, D-style here. No, he's gonna pump. Yeah. So deny domination. If he drops Middle East scoring, I drop Europe scoring. If he doesn't drop Middle East scoring, I might end up in the disgusting situation where I need to use Arab-Israeli war for ops. But he now needs to spend 3 ops to regain Asia. If he hasn't invented D-style by the end of turn 2, and I get 5-year plan in the headline, I might gamble on 5-year planning and praying to pull D-style, because that would be a sick swing. But if only we make it that far, which we may not. Socialist governments is still a big threat, really. The rest is just socialist governments, Warsaw Pact, Romanian application. Socialist governments is a problem because I'm starting to run low on ops. An eventing of socialist governments here puts me in a hell of a bind. And he's probably holding off Pakistan before Indo-Pakistani war. Well, I guess I will be losing Asia domination then. So let's drop Europe's scoring. And we picked up the China card. So here comes a D star. Okay, and we will start by realigning. One more try. That's a bonus. That's the bonus I will take as well. I won't hope for more. Just in that situation with D-Style, just being able to stop the Americas being colonized entirely is the start you want. If he pushes into Uruguay, I might take Arab-Israeli war as a coup to get my mill-ops, because then it's a 2VP swap. If he doesn't push into Uruguay, I'd probably space Arab-Israeli war. Shoring up Venezuela, Brazil? No, just swinging through the Middle East. We can't flip Asia, so we'll space Arab-Israeli. Turn 3. He is holding socialist governments. I'm holding both Asia and the Middle East, which is an unending delight. So let's plug in the hand. He knows I've got Asia and Middle East scoring. He's got Indo-Pakistani war and socialist governments. Romanian abdication and UN intervention, which he can play on NATO. So he's got a pretty sweet deal, you know, as things go. And he's got Truman Doctrine as well. Yeah, so he got about as good a deal as he could get here. He can ditch Truman Doctrine fairly safely. And he can use UN intervention on NATO. I'm probably best off using defectors on whatever he headlines, because he won't know I've got it back in the reshuffle. And then push Asia and try and deny domination, giving up on the Middle East. If I can deny Asia domination, I'll take being dominated in the Middle East. So let's headline defectors. So all he needs to do is drop Europe scoring here to make me look like a genius. But socialist governments would be a fine headline. Perfect. Got the result I wanted. So, he does not have a great coup option. South Africa's the best of the bunch. But he'll go for it. And he'll get there. Holy smokes. What a delight. So we'll pop 3 in there, and we're going to pop 3 in Japan, even if he's got US-Japan. And then we can always use the China card to flip Laos Cambodia if he doesn't move quick enough. So he'll use you an intervention on NATO, and we'll just see what other ops he's got. We've seen Indo-Pac go. So we know he's holding NATO, Romania, UN, and Truman. So the one good thing going for us is he's holding a fistful of one-op cards. The bad thing going for us is that we're in the hole in a lot of the map. So take India. Overprotect. Nicely done. Wise. So let's force him to take... We're going to force him to take India. Reason being, we have at least got the China card, so we can pump South Korea to make it. Although, of course, if he's going to use UN intervention NATO, he should put 3 in India and 1 in South Korea. Oh, perfect. He's got US-Japan. Perfect. Absolutely. A-class. At least he didn't... Okay, so we will pump Korea. If I'd have played it the other way around, it wouldn't have been super attractive, because he could play UN intervention on NATO, space Japan, and take Japan. So, I don't know. I will eat my cereal. So what's his best bet here? Tap Taiwan or Japan? I'm almost certainly going to run out of steam. So I'm going to be going into mid-war probably around -5 with Asia and Middle East and the Milops, maybe a bit worse. And I'm out of Africa, he's in Africa, and he's got half of South America. So not a great early war. I mean, that's a solid one for the USSR. But I was expecting to be relegated anyway, wasn't I? So jolly, jolly good. Of course, pumping that doesn't make a scrap of difference. I forgot you can UN intervention NATO and retake South Korea. Probably shouldn't have given up the China card so hastily. For some reason I thought I was being classy, but no, just being an idiot, as per. So Middle East is dropping for a really badly zoomed in camera and 5 VP. -1, -8, oh, more like -10 actually. It's even worse than I thought. So Romanian abdication and Truman doctrine remaining. And I go into mid-war in bad shape. And CIA up the deck, just for good measure. Ain't life grand? Stuff it. I'm not going to fart around. Although I suppose by farting around I force him no, because then I don't get an AR6. You can have it. Good old swithering there. So presumably Romanian abdication to Brazil. Yeah. And I'll space decoy. Well, he gets his Veeps. Small mercies. Didn't pull grain sales. Do have nuclear subs, that'll come in handy. Do have Europe scoring, that'll be great. Puppet governments is nice. Okay. Not a bad deal. And I got salt, which stops him pulling decoy. Alright, so headline options. We've got nuclear subs, which is the best one to clean up Africa. Or containment. But because I'm inventing puppet governments, containment would only give me 1, 2, 3, 4. No, give me 5 clean ops, I suppose. But no. Nuclear subs. Clean up dodge. If he plays influence on turn 1, I might drop Europe scoring. Just because obviously if he keeps Defcon at 3 he gets a counter coup. Once Defcon's at 2, if he's not made waves into Nigeria, I'll puppet government in there and Chile. And if Defcon's at 2, Argentina as well. No, or not. Maybe Nigeria, South Africa, Chile. But let's see what he headlines. Putting the cart before the horse here. But yeah, first things first. If he keeps Defcon at 3... Europe scoring and puppet government's the best options. He really needs that morning coffee, doesn't he? Weevilberry is not terrible for me here. It's another 3 VP down, but immediately enables me to start getting coups off. Suez is gross. There's so many bad cards. ABM, Brushwall, Junta, yada yada yada. Liberation Theology. Okay. That turned out to be a great wee headline for him. So we'll start with puppet governments. Because we have to drop Europe scoring before we can get any coups off anyway. So what do I expect to see? A walk into Cameroon or Saharan states and or Uruguay. Yeah. I'll at least make sure we can try and press Chile. But I expect the Argentina get overrun. Although, if he's not greedy, dropping South America scoring right now is the primo play. No, he's going to go for it. So we will take South America. South America, take Chile. Get some presents. So Europe scoring, shore up West Germany, start cooing, I guess. Hold Willy Brandt to make sure we don't lose control of Europe after the removal for the Cuban Missile Crisis. So if he goes Sahara, Cameroon, I'm going to drop Europe scoring, shore up Europe, and then start cooing back, starting with Angola. But I'm going to accept the fact I might get realigned out of Nigeria or flipped. I can only fight so many battles at once. And I've got to watch out for Junta and Liberation Theology, because Central America coup's almost off. So he doesn't go off to space, that's a bonus. We'll drop Europe scoring. So next step is, okay, he gets a nice big fat OPEC. We will overprotect West Germany. Which means he knows that the coup will be ending shortly. The crisis. The coup. And then 5, 6, 7, containment step 5. And we're going to go, if he doesn't go Cameroon, we'll go Angola first. But I'm going to more or less accept the fact that Africa's the best place for me to use my sub. Event and repair. What does he do with his other op? Haiti. Fine. I've only got so many battles to face. Hey. Cancel first? There we go. It's been a while since I've been crisised. So Angola first. That's nice. We wanted it to be a nice big one due to South African unrest and Portuguese Empire. He gets brush war, beautiful. So here comes a big flip on Angola. Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect. So now we'll go for Zion Roller 1. Oh, no, okay. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess. So AR7, we're probably going to coup Haiti, I guess. Now we're not. Let's go down here. Big roll. Pretty big. So now junta would be nice. Why don't we get junta? That's splendid. That is a pretty solid deal. Use flower power. I've not been tracking that term properly. Haven't seen any of those. Any of those. No. Fine. Yeah, that looks alright. Willy Junta, Libthi, Voice, Special, Colonial. ABM, Purge, Progress. So, options. ABM treaty in case of missile envy isn't terrible. Although, if I do that, I'm going to get purged anyway. And if he missile envies me, I'm going to give him purge and he's alright, we're going to go junta and drop DEFCON. And if he headlines Central America scoring, okay. So. We at least can get South America back on an even keel. And if he doesn't drop Central America scoring, we can also take Mexico. And we do have Voice of America in our back pocket. It's not super useful at the moment. He gets Bear Trap off. And misses. Have your points. So we'll space Libthi and Willy away. That's I'm going to go with it. It's not glorious, but it maintains the pressure and sets up a couple of realignment options. If he plays back into Botswana, we can ABM treaty Angola. And we've still got colonial rear guards, which we can use to try and dominate a swathe of Africa. Interesting. Okay, so the obvious thing is to ABM coup Angola and hope for a nice big roll. Not a 1. It's a 1! Oh, glory. So if I get realigned out of South Africa, it's time for colonial rear guards. So I don't know why he's thinking too hard. Realign is probably his best move here. Oh, influence, okay. Shore back up. Probably wise. Alright, so we're going to coup on Haiti and say if you realign me, I'm going to realign you. We may hold Liberty and Space Willy. Those are our last 3 cards for this turn. Although if I flub space, I could try and space 2. Hold Colonial Rear Guards. I expect to see a coup on Nicaragua. Especially as he's short Milops, that seems like the best move right now. Yeah, coup on Nicaragua? Yeah, fine. To be expected. What are we thinking? Oh, so gross, so gross. Let's space and say if you want to realign bully for you. Right, not going to space a second time this turn, but we get to headline peak. If he does clear me out of South Africa, we can use a colonial rearguard op to parachute straight back in there, throw in Angola, 1 in Sudan, 1 in Zimbabwe, and just try and rock up the country count. The advantage of putting 1 in Angola if he realigns me out of South Africa is I can flip it AR7 with Alliance for Progress if he does that. Although Portuguese Empire crumbles is still around. Well, at least I get Egypt, briefly. The Muslim Revolution hasn't gone. And instead he says, you can fight me for it. And with Muslim Revolution gone, I don't think I'm going to. What do I like? I like 3 VPs for Alliance for Progress. And AR7 we're going to pump Africa. And basically I only feel like a doofus if he drops Africa scoring here. But I suspect he would have by now. Here it comes. Miss. Miss. Oh, he didn't miss. So we use colonial rear guards. Do we drop Africa scoring? No. But we do get grain sales. And we're going to get to see what he headlines. Korev, Central, South, Grain, Allende, Panama, Muslim arms. Unlike my mistake last time, I'll use Muslim Rev for the ops at this point. Quite probably. Alright, so if the headline is relatively sanguine, we grain sales and coup Angola. And we may even get to score arms race if we're really lucky. Our aim is to drop South America for nothing. Central America will concede for domination. Try and maintain domination in Africa. See how the rest plays out. Wheelberry's gone. I've been tracking that properly. I may get quagmired here. Che's a bit daft, but not terrible. Che, Brezhnev, Quagmire, maybe Suez are all viable headlines. Or even Lone Gunman if he wants to look at my hand, but he probably wants to keep that in the deck. Missile Envy's a possibility. Lads. So we'll get grain sales off. Which takes Olympic Games. Which we will take. And we will coup Angola. So we won't be getting too many coups off in the Americas. So let's try and drop our scoring cards while they're as good as they're going to get. Try and score arms race for the points if he doesn't get a coup off. Although Sudan seems like an obvious first port of call. And Space Cultural Revolution. I may give the China card and play Cultural Revolution because he's serious still in the deck, and these two cards are kind of gross. Although, of course, I'm in the bind of not being able to ditch them. So I might shore up Chile before eventing Allende and try and hold Liberation Theology. In which case, these are my 7 cards with Cultural Revolution going to space. Which means I'm unlikely to be able to event arms race. Alright. We're going to event arms race though, because the VPs are too good to pass up. Then we're going to drop South America scoring for 0. Nice to get Southeast Asia scoring off. It is beyond incredible that the score is back to even. But I'll take it, yo. I'm about to be giving Central America though, so let's not get too excited. Few spaces away, ask not. Doesn't get there. Alright, let's event Muslim Revolution. I forgot about that weird quirk of Sudan. So we'll reassert domination. And we'll get some presence in Egypt for now. Oh boy. Let's get some presence in that side of Asia. This changes the complexion a little, because I might, depending on what he does here, I'm mindful about DEFCON 4 realigns and so on and so forth. So I've got 2 options here, right? I either hold the China cards, and then I'm holding the China card through most of the remaining turns, and Cultural Revolution might steal it off me anyway. Or I take the opportunity to take India or Pakistan here, mindful that Indo-Pakistani war and or a sensible realign will lose me Asia. I'm going to hold the China card because I can always pump Korea as well. So I'm going to space Cultural Revolution. He gets there. I have been spacing very well. So he's getting Che off. Yowza. I'm going to... Oh boy. Of course I end it as well. Play back into Sudan and keep pressing domination. This is not in the order I wanted, but Che was done at the right time. If he coups Sudan, I can pop one in Sahara States or Cameroon, which isn't great because it gives access to Nigeria when he coups again. But I want to keep the pressure up in Africa as much as anything. What's he ditching? Africa scoring? Here it comes. Yeah, there it is. Nicely done. He did gain a sliver of advantage there. We are not going to do anything tapping Asia, etc. for now. That's not great, but it'll do. We'll be looking to discard a held card this turn if possible. Right, I got Shuttle Diplomacy. I got OAS. He got Nuclear Test Ban Summit Missile Envy. I got Brezhnev. He got Quagmire, so I expect to be Quagmired here. And he got NORAD and Emit. And then in the Riads... Alright, let's try that again. Right. That and that from the neutrals, and he had Quagmire. Emit. Alright, that'll have to do. What's the rest of what I have? He's still thinking, blimey. So he's going to ask for Missile Envy. So I will purge him to avoid giving up Missile Envy. And I will give him Shuttle Diplomacy to do something with. Oh no, will I? Because Inventing Shuttle Diplomacy levels Asia. I might give him Brezhnev. Yeah, because that's a wash. Purge him. Missile Envy. Brezhnev cancels out. sure that was best, but that's what's happened. Purge is gone. Brezhnev is gone. Missile Envy is now in my hand and has to be used next turn. And my 8th card is Salt. So we're looking to space Suez to be able to ditch Lone Gunman if I get Korg Liberation Theology. Drop Middle East scoring at Domination, but then Event Shuttle Diplomacy to deny Asia domination. I guess wherever he coups might dictate what he's holding. If he coups Egypt, to have a big problem. Or Argentina. Or Mexico. They're all bad. And that's a great result for me. I tell you what, so we've had some lousy coups between the two of us. But at least we both have. So I think he's got Nuclear Test Ban, Quagmire, Emit, and Summit, if I've not missed any of those in the tracking. He may space Emit. We really need to get Suez off in order to be able to ditch Lone Gunman. Although salting something like Purge isn't a bad idea. To get Salt out the deck and to be able to ditch Lone Gunman relatively safely. Okay, so he does some overprotecting, which is wise. So we're going to headline Middle East scoring and let him have it. Headline it, sorry. So NORAD's gone, but he's going to be quagmiring me, so it's not going to last long enough to have a sniff. And then we're going to Event Shuttle Diplomacy, so that if Asia scoring drops between the last few turns, it has no effect. And then turn 10 AR7, I can use the China card to flip Afghanistan for country count. What do we think? Do you think he's holding Africa scoring? I have to give the China card back this turn, aren't I? And I want to hold Suez for the time being. Let's not fart around. Let's... Oh no, if he's got Africa scoring. Alright, let's Event Shuttle Diplomacy. I'll give him something to think about at least. So if he drops Africa scoring, I can then... God, I pick off again. Nice. Starting to run up against it. Let's Event Salt so I can ditch Lone Gunman. So Purge is back in hand. Now's a good time to quagmire me. But if I can get Liberation Theology out in space Suez, I might still be able to lose Lone Gunman. Yeah, Quag's not a bad play here. Let's see if he finds it. The upshot of that interchange is I'll get the China card. Oh, interesting. He says no. So let's space Suez. Oh, dang it. So do we attempt spacing Purge to be able to lose Lungaman from our hand? It's sheer madness. Let's go mad. Boom. So if he quagmires me, Libthi, ditch Lungaman. He does not. So we will instead counter coup with OS and ditch Lone Gunman. Not great. Not great, not great, not great. So he's holding Quag. But I've got Star Wars, which is nice. I want to avoid war games. Glasnost before Reformer. Indo-Pakistani wars are 1 in 6. But with shuttle diplomacy and also flips it in my favour, so it's a nice big 1 in 6. So Star Wars Purge, Star Wars Missile Envy. There's no Star Wars Defectors. Let's add late war. So I've got Glasnost and the Reformer. I'm likely to lose here to war games or final scoring, but let's see how we get on. AWACS. Evil Empire. Arab Israel. Decol Indo-Pak. Star Wars. Alright, let's see his headline, and then we'll go from there. AWACS take Saudi, take Israel. Not terrible. Use Glasnost as a 2VP ABM. Praying for no war games. I get quagged as expected. Is there anything immediately attractive? Only Purge for Star Wars. So let's start with AWACS. Decol and Libthi to go into the trap first, then the Reformer. Sorry, then Arab-Israeli War. The Reformer's still spaceable. These 3 are space cards at the moment. But I expect to see a coup on Africa first. And then if he's got war games, the game's over anyway. Or Mexico if he's got Central America scoring. Let's see. Central America scoring, then he gets there. And I fail in the trap. Beauty. So decol next, and then we'll use the 2VP ABM if we get that far, which we probably won't. He needs to take Mexico to be able to get over the top on VP tracker. But if he's got it, he's got it. There we go. Good game, good game. Yeah. Well, that's me nicely relegated from the Premier League for another year. Doesn't really move the needle because Shaq's so damn good. Let me know what you thought. There were some weird moments there where I could have done stuff very differently, I'm well aware. Not least salting to digital gun and all that crap. Having to space purge was insane. You know the usual. Comment and let me know what you think. And thanks for watching.